Are you ready to stop searching outside yourself and deepen the connection that matters the most?
Welcome to the Sacred Exchange Podcast. We are your hosts, John and Catherine Graham.
After years of navigating our own spiritual paths, we have learned that true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the honest and vulnerable moments when we are willing to journey within with a curious mind and heart.
Every week, we invite you to journey with us as we share our spiritual ahas, our raw truth, and deepen our understanding of the human experience.
This is a space of vulnerability and healing, where souls meet, hearts transform, and love leads the way. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Exchange. Today, we are going to be talking about finding God in challenging times.
Yes. Yeah, we live in challenging times, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the recent events of these wars and stuff that are going on, it just amplifies this conversation, I think. But I mean, this is not new. Like, it's been trying times despite what is going on now, right?
Yes, I think it's been kind of a buildup of there's this thing happening in the world, there's this thing happening in the world, there's, the Epstein files, the wars that are being called, the ice happening down in the States. Like, there's a lot of things that are getting people riled up.
Yeah.
And for myself, there's times where I'm feeling helpless, there's times where I'm feeling confused, there's times where I'm asking, where is God in all of this? Like, why isn't God just coming in and eradicating all the evil of the world?
Yeah, I think that would probably, that resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because everybody's looking for this savior, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is looking for to be saved or to have this burden or pain released from something.
Yes. And I know in my experience and my evolving relationship with God, there was a time where I was like asking for God to come in and save the day. And then I don't know if it was a post or a video. It was probably 20 years ago, or close to that, where I saw, if you're asking for God to step in and do something, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And that kind of became a question for me to ask myself is, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. How am I contributing? And since then, it's become more so, how am I contributing to the energy of the world? So when I see, what's playing out on the news right now, what is my contribution to that?
Yeah.
Where am I just the same as these people? Where am I different from these people? Where am I the same as the victims? Where am I the same as the perpetrators? And clearing on myself for that, or coming to a greater resonance within myself with that, so that it's no longer about something out there that needs to save me. It's me realizing I can save myself. I can access that God part myself.
Yeah. And we have a little bit of a different... So what is your idea of God? Because I know we have a little bit of a difference in
our idea.
Yeah.
So to me, God is that source energy within each of us that is also reflected within each of us, but also is the creator of this entire universe. It's the collective consciousness. It's the highest parts of my consciousness. It to me is like that part of me when I'm feeling at my absolute lowest, that keeps me going forward, that keeps me reaching for the light, that keeps me seeking love and forgiveness and that. And how about for you?
It's very similar, but
Yeah.
to me, it's more of that collective energy. It's an energy more so than it is a thing out there, right? It is in all of us, and it is everywhere.
Yes.
And it is more of, like I said, an energy than it is a thing or something that will come in to save you.
Yes.
Right? Like, it is tapping into that and having that realization that these things, this plan, how things are playing out is divine.
Yeah.
And there's no real need for us to question. Sure, we can look at these things and go, this isn't right, but that's us then questioning this universal plan.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think for myself, it's asking myself what part of me added to the creation of this. If I am a divine being and I am God's source energy and I am creating my reality and this is now showing up in my reality, what part of me actually created this, And I think there's a lot of people, and even I went through this experience as well, where it was like, well, I'm not creating this. There's absolutely no way it's me that's contributing to this or creating this. It's not what I want, whatever. And so I wouldn't take any accountability for any of it. But now recognizing that we are this collective energy, and if it's showing up on our planet, then there is a part of us, maybe a part that we've completely disengaged with, but it's still running the show. Right. And so I tend to look at what are the kind of emotional drives that are underneath each experience. So if an emotion can create an experience, I'll use war as an example. Yeah. If anger is what causes an argument between two people, I can imagine that anger is also a derivative of war, right? This person has to pay the price. So I'm going to, use all my weapons there. So then I get to look at where am I holding on to anger in my life? Where, it's our printer, it was agreeing with me. Where am I holding on to anger in my life? Yeah. Where am I projecting my anger onto other people? Where am I not willing to have peace with someone because I'm, devoted to my anger and refusing to forgive someone else? And that's where I go, this is how I will show up as God and try and eradicate what I'm seeing in the world that I don't necessarily align with.
And see where, like you were saying, you're trying to eradicate, looking for these pieces of what's going on in you to resolve them. Yeah. And I have a more of these things need to play out for whatever reason. Yeah. I agree there is a contribution from all of us, but my question would be then, what is it that we collectively need from these lessons, from these things are not preferable, but we're creating them. So at some realm there, we do prefer this because we're creating it.
Yes, and to me it goes back to those wounds that we've got running the show. So if I'm allowing my anger to eradicate my relationship with someone that I've had a relationship with, and I'm like, fuck them. I'm not having a relationship with them. These are the 10 things that they've done. I'm pissed off. I'm never going to forgive them. They need to get cut out, whatever. Yeah. Do I need that experience, or have I just created that experience for myself because I'm just not willing to love or have compassion or have understanding or have a conversation with that person? So I could look at, okay, so there's a reason that, say, war is playing out. Yeah. Is that reason because most of us are not willing to let our anger go?
Good point. So, and what you're saying is basically the words don't match the feelings in our bodies. Yes. So we can talk like we're having this conversation now. Yeah. But really, and I'm just saying this figuratively. Yeah. What's going on in our bodies is, oh, I'm angry about this, or this is unjust, or blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And somebody needs to do something about it.
Yeah. It to me, it's like, because we'll look at something like the war, right? And we'll go, this is not me. This is the war, and it was this person who started this war, and da-da-da. And we've got all these people that we can attack. Yeah. Well, attacking is actually the weapon of war, right? It's to attack an innocent victim. Yeah. And whatnot. How many times do I attack innocent people? Right? If I'm not remembering someone else's divinity and I'm not remembering their innocence, and I'm going, nope, they're a jerk because they, I don't know, you didn't fold the laundry last week, you're a jerk, I'm angry at you. Yeah. whatever, and I'm never going to forgive you for this. Well, how am I any different than someone who's throwing bombs into another country?
True.
I'm attacking a very innocent being who just forgot to fold the laundry. And I understand there's a huge difference between those two
But
situations.
I think you're right. The energy is very much the same, right? And I think what we forget, it's not just the words that come out of our mouth, but it is very much those thoughts that we all pretend aren't there,
Yes.
right? Where it's like, no, I'm this peace-loving whatever person.
Yeah.
And then in the background, you have this person that's inside going, oh, I hate this, and I hate this, and I hate this, and this is bad, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I don't say this to guilt anybody, because I think as human beings, we all do it. We all get angry. We all go, I just wanted to punch them, or I wanted to drive that person off the road, or whatever. And it's not that we're acting on these things, but our thoughts do create our reality.
Yeah.
And I can look at the world over the past, say, 6 years, and I can go, yep, people have gotten a lot angrier. People have gotten a feeling of, being stuck, not being able to have a choice, not being able to be in their power, things being completely unfair, the injustice of what is happening in the world and whatnot, which then makes us feel more like a victim. What do we do when we're a victim? We try to find someone to attack. We need someone to be that perpetrator. As long as we've got the perpetrator, then we can start filing our anger over into that direction, instead of really looking at ourselves and going, why am I so angry about this?
Where did this come from, and why is it this way?
Yeah. And I know just from personal experience, when I'm meeting my anger or my sadness or my grief or my punishment or whatever, I have the ability to shift that without anything out in the world changing, right? I can find peace within myself with everybody else still acting in their chaotic ways.
Yeah.
So it is a huge tool for us to be able to go within ourselves to find peace within here, to be able to create peace out there.
And I think that's another thing that people should remember is that, we may feel helpless in this piece of what is going on, what has gone on. And really, the only work, and it is all valuable work, is to do on yourself. Sure, there's nothing wrong with going out and volunteering and helping, and I support that 100%. But it does start here, right? Like, again, if we are this collective, and this is the energy that, the energy doesn't ever stop, it doesn't die, it just transforms, then we control that energy. And yes, it's maybe one little bit and your little bit and my little bit, but all of those little bits create this force. And it's remembering that. And I also wonder how much ego has to play in this as well. Like, if we have a collective that is functioning more on an ego level, are we more prone to the situations that are playing out?
I would say so, because the more I'm in my own egoic levels, the more at battle I am with other people and with life, right? The more I go into myself and I go, how can I be like God in this situation, right? So can I exercise more patience? Can I be more loving? Can I be more compassionate? Can I offer grace to this thing? Can I see someone else's divinity, even if they're not showing me what I have claimed to be divinity? Can I do these things myself? And if I'm not willing to do it, then why would I expect this idea of a guy in the sky to be able to come down and make that happen for me? Like, it's a willingness that I have to carry within me to go, where can I become the love here? Where can I become patience? Where can I become understanding or compassionate or whatever? Which is a hard look at yourself.
Oh, absolutely. And just given like these different situations that we were talking about, the wars and conspiracies and all that kind of stuff, and it is finding the God in that, not to get upset. And I'm not going to try to tell people what to do, but it is look for, what is the message here? What is the purpose of this? How am I contributing to this?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say try to find the good in the bad, but really that's what you kind of have to do is what is the benefit to this? Because there has to be a benefit to all of these scenarios. There's got to be a benefit to our collective consciousness.
Which kind of goes into that idea of, can I see the divine in this? Can I see God working through all of this? And sometimes it does take a lot of chipping away at what your idea of God is.
Yeah.
The source energy, whatever you want to call it, it is all around us all the time. How often do you, see a sunset and you're just like, whatever? That sunset is that energy of God painting this beautiful canvas for us. But we have to be willing to look at it or to step outside at sunset to be able to see it.
And not even just the sunset, right? It is absolutely everything.
Yes.
And that's the thing we, I think, take for granted or don't really fully absorb or whatever, is everything is that energy and everything is that beautiful piece of this collective.
Yeah. Well, and I always find it so interesting, when there's like pictures on social media or whatever of, say, a dog that's taken in a duck that has no parent, right? And we're like, oh, the beauty of this. Or a tree that was cut down and then a new tree grew from it and they cut that down too and then another tree grew from that. And they're like, oh gosh, I guess this is meant to be. And we get so inspired by these things that are out of the ordinary, that are proof of the divine. But then it's almost like we don't seek it out for ourselves to be able to go, where can I also be this proof of the divine? Where can I become an unlikely friend to someone? Or where can I get cut down 5 times and keep rising above it? I think, because I used to have the belief that if God were real and I believed enough and I prayed enough, life would just unfold beautifully, and wow. What I've recognized is it's like it was always playing out beautifully. It was all of my positionalities telling God that this is not how this is supposed to be. So then I got in a fight with reality instead of accepting reality and going, how can I become more godlike in this?
Yeah, and I guess in saying that, you were looking for the preferred reality versus the reality that's playing out, right? Because we do this good, bad, everything, has to be good and everything has to be this preferred reality. And this is kind of what sets us up for, I guess, these situations and scenarios. It's like we don't see the divinity in everything.
Yeah. Well, and we don't see the divinity in others.
No.
And it's something that I know you and I have talked about over the past year quite a bit. And it still is something that I don't want to say I struggle with it. And yet there's so many times where it doesn't cross my mind of this is what I have to do in this situation, right?
Goes back to what we were talking about earlier about practicing, right? It's not, and this is where I'll change the wording from struggle to practice.
Yes.
It's a constant practice. It's a constant reminder of, no, because there is the ego, there is all these different things that play out and different personalities and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It is just remember not to be so hard on yourself. And yes, I need to practice this. I need to, and the more you practice, and we talked about this too, the quicker and the better, and I don't want to say better, but it becomes a reflex at that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. We become stronger in our ability to witness that divinity within people. And I think what I have to continue practicing is the idea that even though you are separate from me right now, that we are one and the same. And so everything that I say about you is actually what I'm saying about myself.
Yeah.
Everything that I witness in you as being divine or not being divine is everything that I believe about myself in some way or another.
And not just we, everybody. Right?
Everybody.
Like every
yes.
situation relates back to the
Yes.
one, which is the we.
Yes, and then it's like asking, because I know we've talked about this quite a bit too, is when we're witnessing people and they're at a different stage in their journey than what we're currently at. And so it's not that they're reflecting to us now that this is who you are, but they're showing a reflection of this previous version of yourself that you then have the opportunity to have compassion for, right? And the more separated we are and the more we're like, nope, that is wrong, that is not what they're supposed to be doing or whatever, and we're throwing all these fingers at them, the more is that invitation. That sentence doesn't make sense. But the bigger the invitation is for us to meet those parts of ourselves with compassion and with love and with understanding. Do I remember being like that?
Yeah.
Right, I was here. Maybe the experience was different, but the energy was the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very much something that you need to practice and remind yourself. And I know we've even talked about, scenarios and situations and dealing with different people that you catch yourself after the fact, right? And that's okay. Like, I'm not holding myself in contempt or going, oh, you're so dumb or whatever. It's just like, oh, there was a missed opportunity.
Yes.
Right? It's like, sometimes it is after the fact. It's like, oh, there it was. More so as with us, it is we can see it, or we are practicing, and realize what's going on and go, okay, I see where this is. I see how it plays. How this pertains to me, or where I was, who I was, how I did these things, whatever.
And then we get to ask ourselves, especially if it's like this older version of ourselves that, we have to have this compassion for and stuff. We can ask ourselves, what did I need most right then that I wasn't receiving? What did I need someone to help me remember that I couldn't remember on my own, right? And then we can become that reflection to that person. Like, shame to me is the greatest example of that, where we can witness someone, doing something perhaps that's out of the realm of what is societally acceptable.
Yeah.
And we can perhaps remember ourselves like, oh, I remember I did something similar to this when I was younger or whatever, and my parents were really harsh on me and it made me feel like crap or whatever. Can I hold this space for this person? Can I be loving towards them and go, hey, I get it. I know where you were.
Yeah.
Or I know where you are right now, and that's okay. It's so interesting that we as humans demand such perfection from ourselves and such perfection from all other humans that our mistakes need to be hidden and that our off choices need to be like, I don't know, we shame ourselves, we condemn ourselves, we shame others, we condemn others, and that to me is that kind of far removal from God, right? Where God is like, all of you is perfect, all of you is divine, every choice you make is divine, and that's not what the church has taught me. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've learned through my spiritual studies and whatnot. And even in A Course in Miracles right now, what I've been reading is like, sin itself does not exist. To sin would be to do something that cannot be reversed, where to make a mistake is something that you can learn from, right? And there's nothing in this world that any of us can do that is so bad that God can't undo, right? And so to me, that was like a big light bulb kind of moment, because as much as I'm like, yes, all of us is divine, there are still parts of me that are like, but that's not a good choice. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of repercussions that will come from this choice, or people doing these actions or whatever, and the victims are going to carry this and la-di-da-di-da. But to remember that, it is just all mistakes, and we can change our thoughts. And you and I have been able to change our thoughts. We've been able to see each other in real time, changing our thoughts, changing our beliefs, learning from our mistakes, which means that's available to all of us.
Yeah. I agree. And I was just having a thought about, you're talking about looking or having this past review, right? Of like, oh, I remember when I was in this state.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting here just thinking that, is it, and I'm going to say it has to be possible that there's actually future messages from people that we need to take in as well, right? So there may be something that you haven't experienced before, but it's being mirrored back to you from somebody, a coworker or a partner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it may be nothing that has happened to you up to this date or you've experienced, but it could be something that's at a future state that's telling you, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
I'm getting you ready, right? Like, you need to experience this.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's so many nuances in that, because I'm like, isn't it such a beautiful gift that we live in a world right now where we can witness people from the other side of the world living their lives, carrying out their dreams, doing whatever, making their mistakes, talking about how life has happened to them, whatever. Like, we get to experience the expression of so many different aspects of the divine constantly, and every single person that's showing us that expression of who they are, what their experiences have been, what their mistakes are, what their dreams are, all of that, I think would be those messages from the past self, from the future self, all these, and it can create kind of a globe or a sphere of, this is the expression of God, I remember when I was a kid, I had this big inspiration to draw the earth, but to use all different faces and all different eyes and all different, like every single kind of body feature that a person could have, and then make it into the globe. And I was 8. I couldn't figure out how to draw it, but the image of it to me was, this is God. Yeah. That this entire world, every single person, every single expression of us is God, all encompassed as one. And I couldn't.
And I remember us having this conversation, because I very much went in a different route, but for a different reason, and it was more on the cellular level, more scientific, right? It's talking about the micro and macro levels of everything.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you have this micro structure, atoms and whatnot, and you blow that up into the size of the universe, and all of these pieces that are connected, things that science can't prove or whatever, quantum physics, all of these things, and they're all little experiences. And this is a thing that I don't want to say I fully believe, but more and more I'm just reminded of it, is that that is the purpose of this journey, is to experience. We're all going to experience, everything is going to experience something different in a different way, and it is all for our better collective to have those experiences, right? So if you think of like a pitcher of water, we just keep adding drops to that water. Here's another experience, here's another experience. Yeah. And everything from the micro to the macro level has experience.
Yes. And it's like, can we have gratitude? Like when we're witnessing another person, right? And they're doing something that we're like, that is not what we should be doing or whatever. Yeah. Can we, have gratitude and go, wow, thank you so much for showing me this expression of life so that I don't have to actually experience it. I can witness from afar.
Yeah. Thank you for your contribution to the experience of the collective.
Yes. And I don't want to bypass, because I know how social media works. I know how people's thoughts kind of work and stuff, and we'll go, oh, but we can't bypass because this is wrong and whatever. But it just goes back into that attack mentality.
Right.
And I think as humans, we've been taught, or the ego, it likes to attack. Right? It likes to
personalize everything, right? It is, this is bad because why?
Yeah, insert this story of the day.
Right.
Yeah. Because what one that's what I find so amazing. What one person can experience, right? Because it's so based on our perspectives. Two people can have the exact same experience and experience it completely differently.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I shaved my head, I had someone ask me if everyone looked at me like I was a lesbian now. Yeah. And I was like, I haven't noticed. And they were like, well, I get stared at in public all the time and people think I'm a lesbian because I've got a shaved head. And I was like, it's a very interesting perspective and an interesting experience of having a shaved head. I haven't noticed anybody looking at me, right? So there's a story that we can tell ourselves that's attached to however we're presenting ourselves, which then again just creates more separation between us and those people. Because I don't know if this person actually went up to these strangers and said, do you think I'm a lesbian right now because of my shaved head? You know?
And from what an ego place, like what, it makes me question what is the story that's playing out in that person's head to ask that question to, and I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
It adds to the experience
of
this collective where it's like, oh, this is your position because this is how this looks and this is what you take away from it. Well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And where did that come from? And it's not to find out, to finger point or anything like that. It's just to go, okay, that's interesting how we got here, right? It's, you know.
Yes. I always go back to, there's a story of two brothers that one was an alcoholic and one was very sober. And when they were being asked in the interview, why do you drink and why are you sober? Both of them said, because my father was an alcoholic, right? And so it's like they both had the same experience, and one was like, I've got no choice but to become this that he was, and the other one is, I've got no choice but to become this thing that he was not. You know, and how easily we can allow what our lives have been to influence what choices we're making, where either A, we're the victim to what our life is, or we become the person that's like, I did not like that expression, I'm going to go this route instead.
Yeah, and we've had these conversations, right, where we've questioned, where did this come from? Where did my positionality come from on whatever, X, Y, and Z? And then we as we drill through that, we find out that it's like, okay, I don't really believe this, or I don't really, like, this isn't really mine.
Yes.
It's just, this is the way it's always been. And it's questioning that. And I think that's another important thing, is always question, always go push it a little bit further, right? And I think that is that piece of finding God in everything, is that, to question.
Yes, to question, to have that curiosity about it, and then also to ask ourselves the question, is this the final destination I want to have on this? Like, am I willing to break apart whatever this belief system is that I have so that I can arrive somewhere differently? You know? And that's the beauty of us too, is that we can have this evolution of ourselves and this evolution of our conversations with God, our relationship with God, to always, you know, go, it is like, do I want to believe in a God who's just going to punish me every time I make a mistake? Well, I don't want to be raised by a parent like that. I don't want to be in a society like that. I don't want to raise my children with that. So can I shift my perspective on what does this relationship look like? You know? And I can, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because that punishing God and this, that, I mean, is very much reflective of the ego. You know what I mean? Where
I think the ego actually created that idea, right? Where it's like, God will punish you, but actually, no, it's the ego's own makings that causes the suffering that allows us to believe God is now punishing us. But it's really the ego going, this is punishment because this is showing up, and it's because I did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because the ego feels guilty for separating from God in the first place, is my understanding now.
Well, just to take it a little bit further, it's like, okay, so then what, I would like to punish myself, right? So if we are all God, we are all the universe, we are all this energy, we are punishing ourselves for, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make the whole thing doesn't make
It's
a whole
so
lot of sense.
simple that when it becomes so simple when you allow yourself to really see it, this mechanism of I am going to punish myself by attacking others who have pieces of myself that I refuse to accept.
So I can get that off of my chest.
Yes,
right?
and I'm
Yes.
going to become the God that allows me to punish this person and judge this person and shame this person and then cry out, where is God in all of this?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's where I'm like, I've got to reverse that.
Yeah.
So if I've got you showing up and there's this thing that I'm like, I want to attack this, it becomes, where can I love this?
Yeah.
How can I love this? How can I soften my experience of this so that I'm not that punishing God, you know? And not that I believe I'm God, but I do believe I have God in me.
Yes.
You know, there's so many nuances in society.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how you look at it. I think God
Yeah.
is all of that energy,
Yes.
which is all of us. So it's not a person, it's not a thing, it is all encompassing.
Yes. And everything that I've got within me and everything that you've got within you that we've identified with, right? Like I am a woman. Well, that's now separated from this God energy.
Right.
I am a
Right.
mother.
The more division we create, the farther away we
Yes.
get from that collective.
Yes.
And I've said this many times in to our children and to various people, where it's like we keep creating these divisions.
Yes, these new labels.
And it just drives us farther and farther and farther and farther and farther away from where we actually want to be. We're all seeking the same thing.
Yeah.
But as soon as we go, nope, this is
Yeah.
what I am, this is what I'm tied to, this is, now you've just kind of created that separation.
Well, you create these kind of limitations,
Yeah.
right? Because if I am... I'm trying to think of an example. So if I am a baker, right?
Yeah.
And I am like, I am a baker, and I just keep saying that to
Yeah.
myself. And then someone asks me to cook a meal, and I might go, I can't cook a meal, I'm a baker.
Yeah.
I can make dessert, but I can't cook a meal, and never discover the fact that I can actually cook a meal too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we can limit ourselves by having these labels and having these identifications. And to me, it's so much more powerful to just be like, I am a limitless, I know that's your word, I am a limitless creator of myself. I am this God energy. What else wants to be expressed through me?
Well, I mean, isn't that just a beautiful thing? Like, for me, and I'm only going to speak for me. I'm gonna speak
Yeah.
for you. But to think that we are this limitless God experience
Yeah.
that has access to everything,
Yeah.
because we are all collectively here in this experience
Yeah.
and have been. I think that is more beautiful than to say I'm just here playing this out, this life from zero to whatever, and that's it.
Yeah.
To think that the world is your oyster, and we do have the ability to be limitless.
Yes.
We just need to remember that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think for myself, the idea that I am limitless means I need to eradicate all of my excuses for my smallness, right? And I think this is where a lot of us get kind of stuck, because there's a lot of fear to overcome. There's a lot of I don't know how, to get from point A to point B in this kind of limitless structure. And yet, to me, it comes back to that curiosity.
Yep.
How can I be so limitless, or in what ways can I become more limitless?
Well, and I think a small exercise to prove or to show that would be to take some scenario that you've experienced in life, and it could be good, could be bad, but see it in a different light.
Yeah.
Right? Is if you struggle with a person, and can you change your perspective?
Yeah.
Because if you can just shift your perspective a little bit of that person, and it changes, well, to me, it will change a number of different things. To me, that just reinforces there's that limitless peace.
Yeah.
Because you're not having to do this conversation over and over again. You can just change.
Yeah.
And that's just like that micro level of, look at, it's all available.
Yeah. That we can.
Because if it wasn't, the same scenario would play out and play out and play out. And I know people get caught in these loops, and we've experienced these loops where you are doing these things over and over again.
Yeah.
But there's a piece in there that hasn't fully integrated or hasn't, been learned.
Yeah.
And so it's that constant, how do you get good at something? You practice it.
Yeah.
You do
I was
it
just
over
going to
and
say
over
that
and
because
over. So
I've had a lot of conversations with people who will, say, okay, I'm going to shift my perspective, right? So what they end up doing is having one conversation with the person that they're having a struggle with, and they go, these are the changes that need to happen, whatever. And then the following day, if all of the changes that they said have not kind of played out, they're like, see, I tried and nothing changed.
Yeah.
Which to me, I think as a society, and I didn't even realize for myself how much I was also addicted to this idea of the whole victim consciousness, right? That all of these things are happening outside of me, and I've got no choice but to just react. And I'm in the Compassion Key for Health program right now, and this is where it really kind of broke down to me, where I was allowing myself to be in the victim consciousness, was where I had a session around allergies and environmental sensitivities and stuff.
Yeah.
And even in that, it's my body going, I'm a victim to everything outside of me because I don't know how my body's going to react. And it was like, wow. So I do this with the environment. I do this with food. I do this in my relationships. I do this when it comes to money. I do this when I go on social media and I see this thing that's upsetting. Like, it's, wow, I've allowed myself to just be this victim instead of this limitless person that can shift and change and adapt and all of this sort of stuff. And I think the majority of society is in this victim consciousness where I can't be happy until my spouse changes. I can't be happy until my kids show up this way. I can't do anything about my situation because of the money or whatever.
Well, it's continuously looking for that savior, right?
Yes.
It's looking for that preferred reality that you can create.
Yeah.
If you choose to want to create it.
But we become so disconnected from that inner creator.
Yeah.
And then we demand that God show up, but it's like you have to
You
call God forward.
Yeah. You need to show up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that to me is so empowering to go, right, I have access to this within me. I can bring this forward into the world through me. Mm-hmm. How fucking beautiful is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and these times I know are very challenging to be able to see, what is the good in this, and I always, these scenarios and things that we see playing out in the world, I often I'm trying to look similar to what you were saying is how is this me?
Yeah.
And I've said before, it's not a bad thing for people to hit that ground level, right? Like hit rock bottom, whatever, build things back up.
Yeah.
And I question whether that's kind of what this is all about, are the events we're trying to get people back to this certain level. Mm-hmm. Have we let the ego go so much collectively that we need this internal reset? And I'm not saying anything about, leveling the world, or I'm talking emotionally and with humanity needs to get a gut check on itself. Yeah. Where it's like, we all need to hit rock bottom so we can just clear this out and move forward in a more collective and better way.
Yeah, and I think too, when things are kind of showing up in our reality, and I'm going to talk about the Epstein files here for a moment, there's a lot of people that have been completely blindsided, I'm going to say, by the Epstein files and by all of the people that are involved in it and just how deep of a well it is. And it's like, this is what's happening right now is beautiful because there's a light being shone on it. And it has been talked about in conspiracy theories for years now. And I know we've watched documentaries on the elites and all of this other sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that it's coming into the light, that it's being proven, to me, shows that now it can be eradicated.
Yeah.
Right? And that we can start to put these stops on things. Or I hope to be able to put these stops on things. But for a lot of people right now, they're going to see this is how the world is getting worse because this is happening. And it's like, this has actually been happening for a very long time. So the fact that it's up now at the surface and we can see it and we can call it out and we can call out the perpetrators and whatever else, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
This is what we need to have happen.
Well, it's almost like those inner thoughts are now being vocalized.
Yes.
Right? So how this manifested, these Epstein situation, the Epstein files and whatever, has always been there.
Yeah.
Playing out, maybe people aren't talking about it, but now people are.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. It does help us as a collective go, okay, really?
Yeah.
We all knew this shit was going on.
Yeah.
But nobody, did it, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a piece of us that said, we need this collectively to happen, to come to light, to be vocalized.
Yeah.
For some action, for our experience.
Yeah. And I found a fascinating post actually by Abundance 10,000 where he was talking about, again, going into the energetics of things. So what does this represent? And we can look at the innocent people who have suffered at the hands of these elites. And essentially, I'm trying to remember it absolutely correctly right now, but I might be a little bit off. From my understanding, he was saying, the innocence that has been attacked by these elites is a representation for all of the broken inner children that we have within ourselves, that we have exploited time and time again. And what we need to do is heal these parts within ourselves so that we're no longer exploiting them, to help release that energy from what the collective is. And I can see just through my own healing journey and doing compassion keys and stuff, and especially when it came to sexuality and my sexual experiences and stuff, that there were many times that there were very young, innocent parts of me that had been exploited in my adult life or my teenage life or whatnot to sexual nuances that I was not ready for, because those parts of me were frozen at a very young age. And so it was not a concept that I had thought of before, that as much as I'm an adult woman showing up to have sexual relationships with you or whatever, that there's also all of these inner childs that are coming into the equation as well. And I have to help them to grow up so it's an adult woman in all forms to have sexual relations. Like, just wild to me.
Yeah, it's, again, it is pretty tough situations that are going on.
Yeah.
But I do think that we can all learn and we can all be better from this. And it's really just, not trying to put this good, bad. This is happening. All of these things are happening for purpose and for a reason. And to me, that is that embodiment of God, or that limitlessness.
Yeah.
Is just being willing to go, this is okay. It's not, I don't like it, but this is just what it is.
Yeah,
and
so it's that trust piece.
There's nothing attached to it. It just is what it is, and let's learn and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, I totally understand what you're saying. And to me, it is like exercising that trust that even though it looks like crap right now, there's something beyond it that I can't currently see that is going to lead humanity to this kind of better place. So I get that. But sometimes when I hear that kind of piece of like, this is all exactly as it's supposed to be, there is a lot of me that's like, but because I go, what is playing out, I don't see as being the highest expression of God. Therefore, I'm going to go back to my earlier point at the beginning of this podcast, was where am I contributing? How am I adding to, or where have I completely edged God out? And it's funny because it's actually an acronym for ego, is edging God out. Right? So where is my ego at play here? Where is everybody's ego at play? Because I think once we can soften those egos in the kind of whole concept, that's where we get to see more of that divinity playing out as it should be. Even though, again, that's my ego going as it should be.
Yeah. And that's what I say. It's a practice, right?
Yeah.
It is saying this, it needs to be this way.
Yeah.
And letting that go and surrendering that to God and knowing that we'll be okay. Yeah. Trust me, there's parts of me that are like, no, this is really fucked up.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
This is what I can do for the collective, is go, look, we need to trust that we will be okay. We need to trust this is for the collective.
Yeah.
For the better of that, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And you have to practice that trust of it will be okay.
Yeah. Well, and when you talk about, surrendering that to God, one of the teachings that I have been learning is all that we're ultimately surrendering to God are the illusions that we've bought into while we're here on earth, right? And so we can go to that God source energy and go, I'm having a hard time remembering that I'm a limitless divine being right now. Can you help me remember? And that's all it needs to look like. Where I feel like I used to go into that space and go, here's the shit that I'm dealing with.
Do something
with it, right? Instead of going, okay, I've bought into this illusion. Like, I bought 10 tickets to see this show. I'm heavily invested. Can you help me get out of this show that I don't want to witness right now?
Yeah.
Help me to remember that there's a much bigger picture that I'm able to see.
And it's funny because the simplest thing, what do we have to do? We don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Other than trust. You know what I mean?
And that's the hardest thing.
It's having that belief and that trust in the limitlessness or the God or the universe or whatever, that it is the experience that we all need and we all are creating.
Yeah, we all collectively created a picture, and now most of us are standing back and going, I hate this picture. And it's like, well, why did you add the blue, the purple, and the brown together if you don't like it?
Yeah. And again, it's you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to be in the experience.
Yeah.
And that's really it. That is really it. You can add, well, you have to do, you don't.
Yeah.
You can just be.
And I think that's the beauty of surrendering. And I will honestly say I was terrified of surrendering.
Again, it's a practice.
It's absolutely a practice.
Yeah.
Because, I was terrified of it. Terrified of losing that control, which hilariously, my idea of control actually made me more out of control. And the less control I have, the more in control I act. Like, it's more of a sovereign feeling of in control, because now I'm actually, and I guess that's what it comes down to, I'm in control of my reactions. I'm in control of my emotions. I'm in control of where my thoughts go or what thoughts I allow to lead me, because I surrendered.
Yeah, and I see it in a little bit of a different way, where it's more because you're just, I'm in control. No, it is just what it is. I don't need to control anything, because I know that all is going to align for what I need.
Yeah.
So I can surrender all of that.
Yeah.
And then it takes away that expectation of this is how it needs to be, and I need to force things to be this way. And whatever shows up, and I'm grateful for how it shows up. And that, to me, has brought so much peace, where it's like, and again, it is a practice. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, no, this is how John's life is. No. But this is what I practice, and it's just having that, no, just let it go. Don't get tied to this idea of what this is supposed to be or try to control it. Just go with the flow.
Yeah. And when I say, I'm more in control of my emotions and my reactions and stuff right now, I feel like in the past, my emotional reactions and my responses to things, like, they just fired off. And I really felt like I didn't have a choice, but whatever. So I try and control the external to stop the emotional reaction from happening. And the more I've surrendered, and again, it does go into that trust and the go with the flow and the surrendering and all of that. It's like, it doesn't matter what happens out here. I know my baseline can always get me back to peace, right? And I can have anger show up here, and I can have sadness show up here, but the whole of me is peace, and it's aligned with finding peace. So no matter what shows up or whatever feelings show up, I don't have to react to it. I'm more in control of my motherboard, is how I would say it. Or before it was like things plugging in and I just get fried, and yeah,
and to a certain degree, I mean, me just saying about surrendering and just letting it go, that is a control, right? Because I'm controlling that. But in the same way, I'm practicing letting go of that. That I have these expectations or whatever, that what this looks like. It'll look like perfectly how it needs to look like, because I trust that's how it will need to be.
And and one more thing that I find it kind of hilarious now that I understand it in a new way, is in that reaction and that response and having these expectations of how things should be and being so influenced by the outside world, how it's like our minds will be like, my plan for this is so much better than God's plan, right?
You talked about this where it's like,
it's so foolish. It would be like a 2-year-old coming to me and going, this is how we're going to plan your finances for the next 100 years. You're going to buy all the candy at the candy store today. You're going to buy all the toys at the toy store tomorrow, whatever. And we just go, oh, okay. And we go ahead and do it. And it's like, no, I'm the adult here. This is how we're going to whatever. And it doesn't always make sense to the child. It isn't always fair to the child. And that's essentially how that relationship with the God energy is like, who am I to think that I have a better idea of how this entire world should work than the person who created it, or the one that created it, or whatever. It's such a wild concept to me, but I can also see where I really did think that my idea of how the world should run was the only way that the world should run,
it's funny because we just talked about this. It's like, no, I trust, right? I trust God, but it's got to be my way. It's like,
yes, I'm going to pray to God for this exact result.
Do you really trust?
Yeah.
Because if you trust, then why are you trying to control?
It's such a duality that can show up. And this idea of it has to be my way. And yes, we are all God creators. And this is where I think those kind of nuances and stuff happen, because I can go, I want this thing, but if I have fear about who I'm going to become when I get this thing, I am going to sabotage myself in every absolute way that I can to prevent myself from getting there, because I've got a fear running the show, perhaps in the background, but it's just created this entire self-sabotage. And then I can look at God and go, I blame you. And God's like, you bought into an illusion of fear. Like,
you created this yourself.
Why did you allow your fear to be
I had
triggered?
a plan, and you wanted to run the show, so
I told you you're a limitless being. Why do you keep seeing yourself so small? And to me, it starts to become a very comical kind of thing when I see all of these things that are playing out, and even how we stop ourselves.
Well, or get frustrated by a situation, right? It's like, so you're mad about whatever the situation is going on in your life, but that is part of the plan.
Yeah.
And it could be you trying to control that plan that is bypassing your divine path.
Yeah.
Because you want it to be in a certain way.
Yeah. It reminds me of that. I think we've seen that video together where Sheldon from Big Bang Theory is looking over these papers, right? And he's like, why? 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 And then he flips it. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the divine plan, right? And I think on a very spiritual level, all of our souls chose each incarnation and each life experience prior to coming here for our soul's greatest evolution. And we forget it as soon as we get here. And then we spend most of our life going, why? And if we can just remember or trust that we did this for ourselves in some weird way, I think in that non-remembrance of we created this for ourselves or we planned this to be for ourselves, we get so caught up in the illusion of the story, right? We're no longer watching a movie play out. We think that the movie is like absolute real life.
Yeah.
And it's just an illusion.
Yeah, I like to think of it as, we're creating this great big 3D puzzle of abstract art.
Okay.
And each person, each experience is a piece of that puzzle that we're adding to this beautiful thing that we're creating.
Yeah.
And the pieces don't need to move, and you don't really see
Kinda
what
like
the
a
picture looks.
kaleidoscope.
Yeah, you don't know what the picture is, but you can feel that. This is a beautiful creation, and I think that is what, in my mind, what we are here doing as experiencers or within this life.
Yeah.
Is just to create that big picture, that collective of all these experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And finding God in everything and knowing that God is in everything. God is all around. God is universal. I mean, it will bring that peace.
Yeah. Yeah. And just one kind of final thought is for anybody who's watching this who has a disconnected relationship to God because of religion or because of the wars that have been caused in God's name or whatever your upbringing was in that relationship with God. I know some people will now use the word universe or they'll use the word source energy or goddess, God, whatever that word is for you. I think it's so important to not disconnect from the full idea of that source energy, God, universe, goddess, whatever, because of what man has made us believe about God.
I 100% agree.
It
is that belief, and I know I sometimes have an aversion to using God because it has been taken so many different ways. And I'm more like it's about the feeling. It's about that energy.
Yeah.
Because I don't want somebody to take, you're talking about God and it's preachy and it's this or it's that, or have whatever perspective they have about that word it just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I whatever your experience is with God...
Yeah. For myself...
Just,
I've reclaimed the word for myself to meet my definition, not the definition.
Well,
that
I
was
think we
told.
both have, right? And we both have a different definition of what that looks like. Very similar, but and that would be my challenge to everybody is just have that belief in blank.
Yeah.
Let's not put a name to it. Let's not have that belief in and trust in this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his name is Jimmy Carr. I might be having that wrong. He's an English comedian anyways, but he talks about like his idea of God or the name God is essentially the blanket that we put over the shape of the mystery that we can't figure out, right? And to me, it's such a profound way of expressing it. So, yeah, anyways. So, thank you everybody for joining us here for another episode of The Sacred Exchange. We would love to hear from you guys. What did this conversation bring up for you? What is your relationship with God, Goddess, the universe looking like for you? And where are you bringing God, Goddess, the universe into your life during these challenging times?
And don't forget, every moment is an invitation to practice.
Yes. Yes. This big
Find
journey.
your limitlessness.
Yes. Remember your limitlessness. We're so much more than just this human experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.